Well, hello everybody. Let's get this event started. We're motivated to move this week as we head from the previous week of warrior, kind of that Aries warrior breakthrough energy. This week is not different because we have the solar eclipse. Part of that is it's a hybrid. Part of that is a total solar eclipse, annular. And you see the ring of fire if you're in the location to see that. But big energy, perfectly dividing our two CIRF weeks. In fact, tonight, this is our live chart. And as I'm doing this report on April 19th at 11:17 a.m. Daylight Savings Time, Central Time Zone in America. And we have the sun and the moon are converging tonight around 11:30 p.m. We're going to see these come together when we're not going to see it, but some of you will on the other side of the globe. And it'll be on the 19th tonight, but for a lot of you who are east of Central Time Zone, it's obviously going to be on the 20th. We discussed that last week. And look at this big square, massive square energy, which really puts a lot of tension and more intensity into the air and elevates it. Elevates all the energy. So you already have an Aries energy, fire, with Jupiter, expansive, moon, emotional, total solar eclipse, 6 months type of energy here. And then Pluto, with brings control and intensity. So a lot of energy. Now, if you're not feeling that energy yet, that warrior type of fiery energy, it's my opinion that you probably will. A lot of us needed a catalyst. I guess apparently I needed a catalyst to get that energy level up. And my catalyst was saddlebags on the motorcycle stolen a couple days ago. So, yeah, we can definitely feel that energy now. So a lot of you won't need the catalyst because you just have that natural Aries energy, or you're just ready for it, or you've been keeping your energy levels high. Don't need the catalyst. But there is a transformation for ego. And in this period of time, this eclipse energy is going to be an intense transformation for all of us. All right. So a lot of catalysts happening. Now we have to get out of the business of judging the experiences, of judging the catalyst, and see it for what it is. It's elevating energy. It's making it very intense. All right, so let's get rid of the current chart, because a lot of you will see this video after the eclipse happens. So here we have our influence chart, and we're looking for triangulating between tropical astrology, the I-Ching, and the collective unconscious, the dream bot. And we're looking for the common denominator. And you can see all the circles are really painted around the total solar eclipse, but also the Taurus energy. So we have the sun starting with the eclipse in Aries at 29 degrees, and then quickly going into Taurus. So everything starts slowing down. Everything's getting real methodical. You're starting to chew on things because Mercury is already there in Taurus. Mercury goes retrograde, so now the past comes into it, past thoughts. So you're really starting to mull things over, and everything becomes methodical. So now we kind of have this trapped energy, the elevated. Maybe you had your catalyst, maybe you didn't, but you have your higher Aries energy, and now it's all slowed down. It doesn't mean it went away. It's just kind of, it's in there, but as everything kind of slows down, it's kind of like the bucking bronco, like the rodeo right before the animals let out the bull. It's that expectancy that as soon as that gate's going out, I'm out of here. And it's the motivated to move. I'm really motivated to move. I don't know if you all are or feeling that energy, but it's kind of like an unpredictable. The bucking bronco, you don't know which way it's going to go. You not even guaranteed that it's going to buck, right? So there's a lot of unexpectancy there, unpredictability. And with that square over to Pluto makes things even more unpredictable. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts here. We have the eclipse energy. We have everything kind of going into Taurus. It's Taurus time this week. And really right off the bat it is. What's interesting, I don't know if I mentioned this, just in case I kind of breeze through this, but if you think about the timing of the eclipse, it's split right in the middle of our previous CIRF week, the warrior, Aries fighter type of energy, and then the eclipse, and then starts immediately our new CIRF week, which is much more Taurus, but the eclipse is still affecting the whole week. So you got the Aries energy trapped inside the Taurus body, right? So it's motivated to move. It wants to go faster. It wants to move, but it has to kind of chew its cud a couple times before it. So everything's kind of slowed down, but it doesn't mean the energy's less. All right. That's all I wanted to say. And then the Dreambot comes in and says, there's a lot of timing in here. And there's a lot of struggle, but just trying. There's a lot of trying in here. And then when we include the I-Ching youthful folly, that's I-Ching hexagram 4, there's this youthfulness to wanting to go out. So there's the way I see it psychologically is an uncomfort or a discomfort associated with feeling motivated to move, but everything's kind of slowed down. The energy's still there, but everything's just slower. So we have this, in order for everyone to alleviate that discomfort, a lot of youthful folly, according to the I-Ching, meaning that a little bit more impulsive. It means just kind of free and just kind of get rid of the discomfort in me. I don't care. It's kind of like the parent saying, I wouldn't do that. When I did that as a child, oh, screw it, just do it. And that's the energy, right? The Dreambot confirms that with, I just want to try. What does this do? It's like questions, curiosity, with that mulling over Taurus energy on top of it. All right. Did I say that well? You'll get it after I get through with this report. And then the solution slide will go over what to do about it. Very, very important. All right, here we go. All right, just a little checklist for administrative purposes. Make sure you subscribe. And if you've subscribed or enjoying these shows, please place a comment down below. It doesn't have to be positive. Give me some feedback. The winner of today's or this week's comment is not for me to say. And apparently a wake behind a boat and building energy. So feeling that wake, that's exactly this energy. Well done. And it's our responsibility to respond to it appropriately. So congratulations, not for me to say. Well done. Let's go to our Dreambot. This is the collective unconscious. So at the top is the word 7. That's a very holy number, is it not? So at the very top, and that's the red arrows. It's all about time, 7 days. There you can have a lot of different contexts for 7, but it's a very divine number, so divine timing is clearly there. And then in the green arrows, we are looking at just struggle and the need to get perfect, kind of an OCD-ish kind of an energy. But but the difference here is that it's not. There's a mix. It's not like waiting too long to start the project. It just wants to try. The energy wants to try. The collective wants to try regardless of the consequences. That's the youthful folly, and it matches. All right. And now the astrology. We're in this week here in between the two goalposts. and you can see the sun has its eclipse right there on the line, and then immediately, I can't remember, an hour later. I can't remember. Maybe 3. We'll get into that, but sun goes right into Taurus. Moon obviously gets in there first because it's faster. And then the next big event is Mercury goes retrograde in Taurus. So there's a lot of Taurian energy. We also have Sun square Pluto. You saw that in the live chart, and that's going exact perfects on the 20th, first day of our CIRF report. There's a lot more. Let's just get started. Thursday, the 20th, as for most of us, is going to be the solar eclipse. This snapshot is actually the 19th, just before midnight, 11:12 p.m. I think I said 11:30. I was wrong. 11:12 p.m. Central Time. So we talked all about this last time. The next 6 months, let's just suffice it to say this is a snapshot for the next 6 months because it's an eclipse and it's mega transformative. Mega. And so a lot of us are going to feel the effects of catalyst as we transform. A lot of transformation needs a catalyst. And so for the Pluto, it's kind of death rebirth, or a forcing a perception of it's over, it's done, only to start again with something else, something new. All right, enough of that. So the next 6 months, very transformative with potentially a lot of catalyst. 3:13 a.m. Central Time, the sun goes into Taurus. Moon's already there. We have the North Node immediately conjunct. Mercury at this time still going direct, and we have Uranus. All of that is in the North Node, so everything shifts to a Taurian energy, but with that underlying Aries 6-month cycle. So it's a heightened state of fire energy underneath that kind of slower Taurian energy in the immediate term, acutely. Meanwhile, the ego continues its transformation with Pluto. And there you go. That's about 4 hours after the eclipse. 4 hours. Eclipse happens, then sun goes into Taurus. Friday on the 21st, this is where Mercury is going to station, in other words, just kind of freeze relative to the planet Earth. And this is where the majority of that mega Mercury energy is coming in. It's very thoughtful, but it's curious. That's another Mercury attribute. So we're going to get extra thoughtful, extra adaptable, extra youthful, well, in terms of curiosity. And so this is a lot of where this youthful folly is coming from in the I-Ching, as even though it's slower in Taurus, mind relatively slow, it's in station. So more of that energy is said to be reaching Earth, more packets reach Earth, more Mercury packets reach Earth and have a more of an effect. And then the next day, after about 12 hours, it's going to go retrograde, start moving backward. And this is also in the wee hours of the morning for us Americans, 3:35 a.m. on the 21st, Mercury stations. And then, on the same day, so that's 12 hours later, then it starts to move in the backward direction, retrograde. Mercury working back towards the sun and the North Node in Taurus. Saturday, the 22nd, there's kind of waking up on the 22nd to a whole new landscape of energy with the backdrop of that Aries eclipse, right? Still there. So there's fire inside, but everything kind of slowing down, contained, repressed, whatever. Catalysts at this point have already taken place. Now the catalysts are more associated with the immediate term, Pluto, Sun in Taurus. So value, things of value for the ego, like a saddlebag on your motorcycle stolen. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And that actually happened. So with this square here, Sun and Jupiter square Pluto, there's tension in the room. There are the emergences of sextiles. We will talk about those starting on Sunday. But for now, kind of a presence of tension in the room. Everyone knows it. You can imagine yourself in a party. It's not strangers, party of people or a gathering of people, but there's tension there. Everyone knows it. And that's kind of the effect here with Pluto and Aquarius is the observer. So there's this awareness and observation that dominates. So how is this felt for most of us? Could be imposter syndrome. It could be religious extremism. Remember, we're looking for a transformation of values. So it really depends on what is valuable for you. Intense desire for success for a lot of us. This is also the alignment Sun square Pluto for the con artist, potentially. It's with Pluto as the control. And this goes exact on 18. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see here. I'm talking about Jupiter now. Jupiter square Pluto. It perfects on 18 May and ends the third week in June. So these are two slower planets. And so taking a much longer time. But this is going to be in the backdrop as well because of, as Sun progresses on, Jupiter hangs back in Aries, squares off to Pluto, making all these things. The religious extremism is kind of excess, Jupiter being a planet of excess. And intense desire for success is the Jupiter wants success, very optimistic, wise, ascendant, and then intensity of Pluto. All right, so that's a big one. The Jupiter and Pluto in a square for the next few months. Sunday, the 23rd, now we get into some of these opportunities. We have Mars. Remember, Mars and Pluto are in a fall state. So both of them represent power. Pluto, inner power. Mars, outer power. In other words, your actions and behaviors in the outer world. And both of those are in fall at the same time. That's going to be a big factor when Jupiter goes T-square in a few days. But for now, it's representing, it's hard to feel empowered because the power players are in fall. So Mars in fall, sextile to Mercury in retrograde in Uranus. So things are slowing down. Imagine Mars in water, running in water, slowing down even more with the Taurian energy, but working methodically. And it also gives you an opportunity to keep it going, to not give up. There's some sustainability there. Even though things are harder for Mars, it doesn't mean you can't do anything. It doesn't mean you can't do. It just takes a little bit longer time. Longer effort, bigger effort, more energy. Sun sextile Saturn. So with sextile, there's always an opportunity there. And this is found with getting through obstacles because Saturn challenges. Saturn gives hardships. It gives catalyst in order for you to learn, to sharpen your sword. And there's your opportunity there. So there's another hint that some catalysts, some events will happen to get you challenged. And it's in your reaction where the opportunity is. So you can power through that. You can learn a lot. You can get stronger. You can get a value increase because of it, maybe a raise. Something financial is possible depending on your layout, but Taurus is there. Taurus is the value sign. Pluto and Neptune are going to be in a long sextile. I don't even know how long this is, but several months. And so throughout those months, we have an intense connectedness. So Pluto intense, Neptune connected, Neptune in Pisces still, so uber connected with everyone else, feeling the intensity there. And that's kind of scary, seeing the implications or thinking of the implications of what opportunities might exist with a Plutonian sextile, some sort of rebirth that makes us feel even more connected. I won't even say. It could be positive, it could be very negative, but it brings us together. Psychic phenomenon goes through the roof. Mysticism takes a notch up. Intense psychic phenomenon. How about that for the next few months? All right, Monday, the 24th, ego experiences a whole new insight on the future because you got Sun and North Node together, still with a square over to Pluto. So it's really intense. It's future oriented, finding value into the future, mind kind of reflecting on the past. So this makes you chew things over even more. A mental regurgitation and having to maybe replay things from the past. So you got the Sun seeking value in the future, and you got Mercury trying to reflect on the past to help with that. So it's very extra Taurus, if you will. Tuesday, 25th, much more caring and nurturing because we have Moon in the home of Cancer, and Moon is in a waxing crescent stage, which is, preparing, getting ready, small steps forward, methodical. It's a very very good layout, I would say, for the Moon and the Taurus focus here, slowly moving towards trying to get the Taurus energy engine started and going, not really pressing on the accelerator yet, just bringing your foot off of the brake, putting it into gear, kind of coasting forward, preparing. Put your to-do lists in. This is a match to Mars in Cancer, so things are a little harder, but you're not going to go too fast at this point. Chewing on your thoughts and revelations from the past. And then Wednesday, there's that T-square on Jupiter. And so the desire is to move up and outward and expand your horizons. This is the motivated to move, but more like the bucking bronco. This adds to the bucking bronco kind of thing. Not it's being held back. The bronco is being held back and it wants to go move. It's pent up. It feels pent up because the power theme is in fall. It's more of a struggle. Okay. Big pressure to remain poised, leader-like, and optimistic. Not such a bad alignment there, but a pressure to do it makes you feel like the imposter syndrome again. Remember that tension in the room? All right, let's look into the I-Ching. Youthful folly, what does that look like? It's hexagram 4, the I-Ching. Be on guard for the careless or rebellious attitudes characteristic of inexperience. Like how we were kids and just hated when parents were, giving us like lessons from the past. You didn't care. You just wanted to try it. I want to learn my lessons. That's the energy here. Just as a youth requires instruction, this is a good time to focus on learning lessons from a patient teacher or from life experience. And voila, we have Mercury retrograde to help you do that. Mercury retrograde in Taurus, right? So it is a slow down, a rechew, a reevaluate. But a lot of us won't like that. If you're naturally impulsive, this will make that impulsiveness even worse. Just want to do it. Just get started. So motivated to move. Be respectful of anything or anyone who has something to teach you right now. Challenging and confusing times. And line 3 says, devotion to the rich, powerful, and beautiful is dangerous. A weak person can easily lose his or her individuality in trying to manipulate, woo, or win the respect of others. Like a flippant young woman who throws herself at a millionaire, it is undignified to offer oneself without reserve to anyone. Better to let the other, your superior, your desired lover, your investor, whomever, come at least part of the way down the road to meet you. So don't go seeking too much acceptance and making those connections when they don't belong there. The archetypes of this hexagram really do match the variety of astrology, mainly the Sun square Pluto, the growing Jupiter square Pluto, the shift to Taurus, archetypes, the carelessness and experience, making mistakes, experiential learning, the humble student, expanding awareness, gullibility, errors in over-accepting, errors in too low of expectation, and look at this. I forgot to do the energy graph. There's two main energies here. The eclipse stays high, stars high on Thursday, and maybe if you're watching my cursor, just a small slope downward as that eclipse energy starts cresting off. And it's different than the Taurus energy. The Taurus energy does also start, relatively high and then just maintains high all the way through. In fact, just slightly goes up. So both of those energies are high, and that's exactly why we're looking at kind of like the bucking bronco held back feeling, motivated to move. All right, let's go to our solution slide. But the top part of it is just the influence. Whoops. There we go. You can see all of it now. There's the bucking bronco. Now, this is kind of an error in my description. We wanted to see the bucking bronco, but in reality, the energy, the influence this week is just before this bronco is allowed to just go nuts. So it's being held back. That's the point. So bold, energetic alignments combine for a high potential of gullible, inexperienced, careless set of potential urges and behaviors. The energy shifts towards the Taurian influence, complete with experiential learning and possible feelings of a class differences. In other words, that Taurian class comparison, class differences, and or a yearning to be of value. Hence, we will see much youthful folly from the humans who are asleep to this energy. Don't be one of them. And this is our segue to the solution. Let's go back here. Why does it do that? All right, transitioning to the solution now. All we've done is we put our changed line in, and that gives us hexagram 18, repairing the damage. Now, read this hexagram as if it was a behavioral recommendation. And we get this. This is a time to be lean and efficient. The weeds must be rooted out before the whole garden is lost. Fighting decay, indifference, and corruption is not a simple matter. The steps must be evaluated carefully, and planning should precede action. Resist the temptation to strike out prematurely. Gather strength around you and marshal your inner resources. Arresting decay requires a strong effort. When you do act, pay close attention to the process. Make your strike as precise and clear as the path of a surgeon's knife. And I'll have more on that as we triangulate to help you conceptualize what that means. This conversion chart now, when we're getting into the solution modalities, is the Sun square Pluto, Sun going into Taurus right at 3:13 a.m. on Thursday. And it's actually here in hexagram 3. Would you believe, and Sidereal Aries, would you believe we're in the exact same line? Why is that as last week? Why are we in the exact same line? Well, because of the eclipse. Remember, it was the eclipse. The eclipse happens, then just within a few minutes, not even a degree, boom, we're going into Taurus. So that's all in the same hexagram of the rave, and it's all the same line: charisma, innate quality, which attracts valued guidance. And so now we're ready for our solution slide. Uh-oh. Not sure why that started. There it is. And let's go here. Zoom in. All right, here's our solution, everybody. The I-Ching says, repairing the damage, fixing the rot, strike with precision and mighty effort. The rave says, Gate 3, difficulty at the beginning. That's a very Plutonian statement there. Challenge of initiation is to transcend confusion and establish order. The innate quality which attracts valued guidance. And then we have the warrior Aries for your sidereal solution. And we have the triangulation goes like this. It makes sense that this week is almost a mirror image of last week's solution because the powerful solar eclipse in Aries happened perfectly between the 2 weeks. Continue to find something you're intensely passionate about and apply the Aries warrior to that. A lot of this will sound just like last week. Be direct, ardent, and vigorous in your actions and focus on fixing what is rotting or damaged. That is different than last week. Just because we had the only change from last week is the I-Ching. But it's the same kind of concept, but more focused on fixing what's already broken, damaged, decaying, corrupt. Fix that first. Shore up your rotting. Fix the rotting. Strike boldly with precision and power and resolve corruption. Just like last week, be sure you don't power forward blindly. So this is the big gotcha with this week, as we talked about lots of possible sources of discomfort, which is going to produce that bucking bronco thing and indecision, but also youthful folly. Don't fall for that. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to go forward. It means you need to follow this advice. Bring the advice of your experiential learning and also from your mentor, guides, leaders, higher power, divination, and or psychic guidance. Remember, you have the Neptune sextile Pluto. So it's going to be coming through your dreams and the interconnectedness that we inherently feel as humans, their oneness. But basically, don't be impulsive this week. And the Taurus slowdown should help with that. The Mercury retrograde actually will probably help us in slowing that down, following the guidance of experiential learning from the past before you act. And that can be enough. But also make sure that you have, if there's any doubts or conflicts, seek some mentorship. Find some help from your guides, your leaders, your physical leaders, your supervisors, possibly, your higher power, any divination tools that you might trust and go forth with. So, but when you do go forward, go forth powerfully, self confident, passionate, and with high intensity. And do be methodical and mindful, ensuring low chances of youthful folly. Watch out for your desire to just break through the gate and just, here I am, and get it done, and just to get rid of the discomfort within of holding back. Okay. Avoid impulsive reactions, but do move forward. Don't be too stagnant. All right. We're not biting off a lot here this week, but we are moving forward, and we are moving forward powerfully. That can be a hard concept for a lot of people, because we're moving forward powerfully kind of infers that we're going to be covering a lot of ground. And I don't think that's accurate. I think it's kind of like the bull, where the bull can run, and it's quite a sight to see when they do run, but they don't normally do that. They can push through obstacles like no other, and they do so with force. But they're more of a short distance, slow, methodical, powerful, big and strong, self-confident. All right. And with the catalyst that I'm mentioning, my statement is that I will focus on is I react to each energetic influence with perfection and in accordance with my highest values. What a great time to be using values in all of its context, because we're entering the Taurus energy of seeking value, seeking worth. All right. That's all I have, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your shares and likes. I really appreciate all of you. Namaste. And we will see you next week. Cheers.